motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting? Second. Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
Excused tonight, PJ Keeler, Amy Manchester, Steve Kroll, Aiden O'Connor, Dale Lingenfelter, and Maria Walker. There was no disciplinary action. Course applications, there were none. And additional correspondence, DOH letter advising that Paxville Host Company has surrendered their ambulance certificate and their agency code 1924 has been deactivated effective 5/19/17. CON committee report?
There's no action currently.
Tim is. You're up, Tim.
Excuse me?
You're up.
For what?
Executive Director report.
We were in deep conversation. Hopefully everybody has a copy of my report. One thing under training, I usually don't speak to training, but if you notice, we scheduled a full CIC course, but we had to cancel it because we only had 2 enrollees. And over the last couple of years, we've had repeated replies and requests to schedule CIC training so we could generate more CICs for the region. We go ahead, we get it lined up, and nobody signed up. We will schedule one again, probably look for it maybe late summer, early fall, and we'll see if we can get some people in there so we get some new CICs trained. The only other things on the report I'd like to speak to, and it was mentioned in the executive board session, remember tomorrow is EMS Memorial. I think the weather's supposed to be halfway decent, so I don't think you're going to need your umbrella, but 11 a.m. tomorrow at the plaza. We staffed, we've been doing this probably 3 or 4 years now. We staffed an outreach table at the Columbia Green EMS Education Day down in Columbia County. It's a great way to get some exposure to for Remo, for the folks in the southernmost reaches of the county. We hand out some trinkets and stuff like that. We answer any questions that they have. It's a great way to reach out to people that normally we may not come in contact with. That's about it as far as importance. If there's anything else on there that anybody has a question with, I'd be happy to speak to it. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
So in your packets, Steve Kroll has an incentive program, compensation program. It's lengthy. If you want to take it home and read it, or we can discuss it, that's what Steve asked me to see. He had called me earlier, and he said because it was. Otherwise, if it's something that you want to discuss now, and he said he thought people might want to think about it before we voted.
But it's coming as a second motion
Right.
from the executive.
It's a seconded motion from the executive board.
Okay.
Did go
So
ahead and
after
lay it.
the discussion, it's coming as a seconded motion
Okay.
for a vote.
So do people want to look at it, read it, or think over it?
It's really in line with what we've been talking about all along.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. No motion to approve it?
We're ready,
Individual
it was a
vote?
seconded
Do you have the list?
motion.
Roster?
So
It's a seconded motion, so we just have to vote for approval. The council just has to
Seconded
vote for
motion to
approval.
approve it or to reject it? I mean, I don't know what you want.
Whatever.
the executive board was to approve.
The motion was to approve it, to
Okay, that's what
accept
I'm
the
asking.
recommendations. So whatever you wish to vote, feel free.
Here's the roster.
This is the first I've seen it, so to digest it in a matter of a half hour or so.
Well, that's what Steve Kroll
I'd
actually said.
like
He
to-
said he,
Make a motion that
Have the
we
council.
put it on the agenda for next one so people can read it. Because I'll be honest with you, there's
This is
Well,
a
we've been
program
doing
that
it
we've
before.
had,
I understand we've had it for a long time,
Well,
I
yeah,
understand
you
that
Then-
this doesn't even come close to representing what the original,
Right, but we talked about it
reimbursement
in,
was
we talked about it in
intended
the
for.
retreat and we discussed it in the executive board.
and we're 8 months.
There wasn't much
7
discussion in the
months.
retreat, I was there, and we talked that it was in existence,
Vote against
but.
it and
That's right. So,
we brought it to.
Anne Marie, would you like to ask people if they'd like to?
There's actually two different pathways. One would be, there are two different pathways. The first is we can call a vote, the second is there could be a motion to table. Motion to table would require a second, and it would require a majority vote. Majority votes to table it, it would be tabled. If not, then it would just be continue to vote. Correct?
I'd like to table it so I can read the whole thing, so I'll make that motion. I don't know if anybody wants to second it or whether the council wants to just go ahead and get it out of the way and vote on it. But that is my feeling. I think it needs to be reviewed and I think it needs to be
It could be reviewed
discussed and vetted
and discussed
before we voted
for
on saying
next
yes.
October.
You guys really have to talk one at a time,
Okay.
because I'm getting crosstalk and it's just not gonna make sense.
May I talk? This is for the fall of 2016 payment. We're almost to the 2017 payment.
Actually, I think Robert's rules being that we've got a motion on the floor, waiting for a second, I would second that motion so we can discuss it.
The motion to table takes priority.
I would really like to read this and figure it out and to see what it's worth. I just, this is not what we started out the reimbursement to be for. So I think it needs some discussion, and as I said, I'd really like to read this, and this is the first I've seen it, and to bring it in front of me and then ask me to vote on it doesn't make much sense.
So we have a vote to table it?
For clarification, if we table it, we're tabling it until September, right?
No,
We are meeting.
we always meet in
July.
It's
Oh,
in
July
July
and
and
August.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough, sorry. I don't even know what month we're in,
You're in Colin.
You know where you are.
Trevor, you wanna say those in favor, those against?
So Jeff made a motion to table it,
Yep.
so someone second
Did
it?
you second it, Dr. Gale?
I did.
This
Now,
program is an
discussion, if anybody
established
wants to talk
policy
about
by Remo. It's something that this board has already voted on to implement this policy. What we're asking for your vote today is to pay out according to the policy that was already approved by this board.
Correct. So this, we voted on this back in the fall, right?
September.
October. This plan with the surveys that went out, the Survey Monkey, none of them. Right, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, they were sent out, then resent out.
Well, they weren't sent out from us.
Yeah,
Uh,
Steve sent them
you
out,
guys
then
sent 'em out, yeah.
resent them out, because, correct, right, Dr. Bailey? Because we didn't have enough of a thing back, and then we did, and then we kinda, Steve kinda delayed a little bit by calculating all the results, Dr. Bailey, correct me, and now we're looking to get it paid out.
So this payment would be to pay for 2016.
Correct.
And this is the email that everybody should have received this morning from Steve Kroll. He did send this out to the full board this morning.
He did.
So we're still in a position with a seconded motion on the floor, and we need to vote on the seconded motion.
Roll call vote or show of hands?
No,
I'm not
show
sure.
of
hands.
All in favor?
All in favor of postponing it for a month so it can be reviewed and read. 9 voting in favor of that, obviously.
Right.
I'm sorry, and I'm the only one apparently. Okay,
So can I have a show of hands for those who want it tabled?
I did.
And the vote will. Okay.
Opposed?
Anybody
All
opposed?
opposed?
Yes. Aye.
Okay, so now we're back to the seconded motion from the executive board to pay these funds.
You have a motion to approve that?
Aye? Motion to pay?
Second?
In
So
favor?
it's already a
It
seconded
is-
motion.
So it's all approved or
Okay.
against? So say that.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Not to paying the money, but for doing it this month, I'm opposed, so.
So the motion passes. Is that correct?
The majority.
I only heard one person vote against, so, yeah.
You want to move these seats?
Excuse me?
No, Steve's on
Council
EMS
report?
council.
Everybody have a copy of Steve Kroll's State EMS Council report? I'll read it for the record, since I believe Steve usually does read it for the record. Correct me if I'm wrong. Several bullet points. First bullet point, the Bureau of EMS will no longer send out instructor renewal notifications. The responsibility for knowing when you need to renew will rest with the CIC CLI beginning in September of 2017. Second bullet point, EMT cards are now being printed by the Bureau rather than an outside vendor. That has improved turnaround times, and cards should go out within 2 weeks. The last exams resulted in cards going out after 12 days. Third bullet point, the Bureau of EMS has determined that an EMT student may not begin practicing as an EMT until they receive their card. Letters received from on-site scoring will not serve as a temporary certification. Next point, a technical advisory group has been appointed that will be led by Dr. Daly to review the New York State BLS protocols and the BLS components of the collaborative protocols to smooth out differences and ensure consistency. The Bureau of EMS has been heavily impacted by state budget cuts. While the funding for Remsco's and education is not impacted, the Bureau of EMS operational functions have been cut by approximately 25%. A cut of this magnitude will impact the ability of the Bureau to carry out its responsibilities. The CMAC received a presentation on the Coverdale Stroke Program. Agencies are reminded that it is crucial for EMS providers to assess blood sugar, the last known well time, the Cincinnati stroke scale, and provide this data to the hospitals in early notification in the case of suspected stroke. Next, EMT instructors are reminded that syringe epi and epi autoinjectors must be taught in EMT classes. The Remsco approved a phase-out of the critical care technician. Current CCTs will be able to maintain their certification through the CME refresher program. There will be no new original courses approved after January 1, 2018. No new refresher courses will be approved after July 1st, 2019. Active CCTs will have access to a paramedic bridge program to achieve EMTP certification. Registration is open for the 2017 Vital Signs Conference that will be held in Rochester, October 25th through 29th. 17 EMS agencies have announced closure in New York State thus far this year. This compares to 26 in all of 2016. Next Remsco meeting, Wednesday, September 27th in Troy, and guests are always welcome to observe. Our region's 2016 award winners have been submitted to the Remsco for consideration for statewide awards. The Emergency Responder Leadership Academy will be held on July 14th at Marist College. The flyer is attached. Several persons from our region are on the faculty of this program that is focused on, quote, navigating the business of EMS. And last, please support the New York State EMS Memorial Ceremony this Tuesday. Attendance from our region is important due to our proximity to the memorial. And that was Steve Kroll's Remsco report.
Medical Director report, Dr. Daly?
Thank you. So the majority of my report actually focuses on things that Steve has already mentioned, for which I'm appreciative. The CMAC meeting unfortunately did not have a quorum through its entirety, and unfortunately did not get to do most of the work that we were hoping to get done. However, it did leave us with some important things to continue to move forward on. The first is this technical advisory group, the BLS protocols. You'll remember we discussed here in the past that there was some concern raised by some instructors that there was a disparity between, or discrepancy between the state BLS treatment protocols and the collaborative protocols where it applied to basic life support care. In particular, albuterol during COPD exacerbations, patella reductions, what was it? Something else. Anyway, actually doing CPR and not taking people to the hospital, doing CPR if possible. We're going to actually rewrite the entire BLS treatment protocol over the summer. It's going to dovetail with the current collaborative protocols. It's going to actually use evidence-based medicine as the collaborative protocols do. And it should make it much easier for instructors to actually carry the message forward as to the EMTs actually serving as an important component of the spectrum of care within EMS, not this separate thing that exists just to pick up the telephone and call ALS, because that's not what an EMT is. The EMT is an incredibly important part of our care continuum. There will be drastic changes from the current. All of those drastic changes are things that in this region people have already been doing, like good CPR and that sort of stuff. So we're actually pretty excited. Our first conference call was this morning. It was extremely successful. Had about 10 people on it from around the state, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with where we get with that. And that will be a vote, an item up for a vote at medical standards and then the CMAC in September. Basic life support epinephrine guidance documents that have been issued by the state. I would actually implore upon every CIC that teaches this curriculum to please teach people to use the anterolateral thigh as they are trained to use for an auto-injector for the use of a syringe. And frankly, for those of you who are paramedics, my suggestion would be to use the anterolateral thigh for all intramuscular injections anyway. While it's usually a problem that you see in hospitals, not pre-hospitally, from time to time people will have a syringe in their hand, IV access available, and will give epinephrine 1 to 1,000 concentration intravenously instead of intramuscularly. It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Patients don't like it very much. Well, no, the patients themselves don't like it either. It's a really bad idea. But you can't do that if you're giving all your intramuscular injections in the lateral thigh and you're starting your IVs in the upper extremities. It makes it much safer. Somehow the training materials that came out from the state on BLS epi ignored the fact that everything that we had done with check and inject specifically directed people to the anterolateral thigh as a site for injection. That is troubling to the physicians. The Coverdale Stroke Program is extremely important for the people in this region to pay attention to. We will be doing more research on stroke and how stroke transfers are occurring, but making sure that blood sugar, last known well, and a stroke scale are well documented in a pull-down area of documentation systems, if you're using an electronic documentation system, so they can be readily found. Only one region actually achieved 100% compliance with this on an audit by Coverdale. I'm not sure that's because they were any better than we were. They were just better at putting the information where people could find it. So make sure that information is where it belongs. And then CCs, this region is to be complemented. We had stopped our CC classes about 10 years ago. and our CCs have been slowly attriting ever since. The ones that we have are providing excellent care to their credit. However, this is gonna provide hopefully more opportunities for what should be fiscally reasonable bridge programs, or at least that's what the state is suggesting. Because I know some of the CCs that wanted to become paramedics in the past found an incredibly huge financial mountain to climb in order to get there. So hopefully this will give them more opportunities. So, anything in particular that you'd like me to think about for the BLS tag, please let me know. Otherwise, that's all I got.
Lynn?
No report.
For membership or nominated?
No report.
Awards or bylaws?
No report.
Dean, you have any?
Will you meet next month?
County reports? Brian, Albany County? Wednesday. And then the next three people are excused. Kevin Robert? Kevin, the report for Saratoga?
No report.
County report? And Jim Vina for Schenectady?
No report.
Okay. Under new business, course sponsorship renewals, Town of Colony, Green County EMS Council, Momentive Performance Materials, and Remsco endorsement of REMAC hospital delegates. All delegates were endorsed by the respective hospital medical directors. For Ellis Hospital, it was Dr. Rob McHugh. Columbia Memorial, Dr. Yuri Stipa. St. Peter's Hospital, Dr. Frank DeMays. Albany Memorial Hospital, Dr. John Janikis. Saratoga Hospital, Dr. Rob Demarama. Samaritan Hospital, Dr. Bruce Oshkow. And Albany Medical Center, Dr. Nick Rathert.
Back up a little bit.
We need to vote on the course sponsorships.
The
For each
course
one of them?
sponsorships
So
require
as a group, we
Remsco
can approve them all at
approval.
once, I think, but if we do it separately, that's fine too, but they all have to be approved. Were they all in order?
You can, I think you can do them as a group.
Were they
can.
all
We
in
have
order?
done that in the past.
You
They-
reviewed them, right?
Yes, and I actually sent them out to everybody. I think you all got a copy of the
I reviewed them. They appear
sponsorships.
to be
Yes.
full.
I
Yes.
make a motion that we approve it,
I'll
Second.
second that.
All in
all
favor?
four of them.
Aye.
Great.
Then
Colin,
the
Green,
next will require
Mental, three, you are
Which is-
correct.
the docs. They have to, Remsco has to approve those docs.
I make a motion that we endorse the Remsco nominees that have all been approved by their respective medical directors.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
May I go back to the Rensselaer County, report? The summer EMT class, Wednesdays and Thursday nights, starts Thursday, June 1st, tests out Thursday, August 18th. Lionsville Fire Department, there's still some openings left. Anyone wants to come play?
Wednesday and Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday night, 6:30 to 10:30. It is an accelerated class. We get down and get funky. For a motion to adjourn.
Do you have any other items from the floor?
Forgive me over here, Scott was showing me his cool new Apple Watch.
Thanks for putting that in.
Did we vote on the Remsco endorsement of the REMAC candidates? Yes, we
Just did.
It passed.
You
Did I
approved
vote
it.
for it?
Yes, you did. Don't worry, Kevin took care of it.
Do anything else?
No, you haven't.
Any items from the floor?
Motion
Motion to adjourn,
to adjourn?
second?
I think Lynn's just like.
I second.
Aye.
All right, let me get the signature on those, and then I have